Hello, Kyle.
Hello, how you doing?
How you doing?
Man, we are so happy to have you on the line today. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be there. Hey, crew. Everybody's that. Doc?
Hi.
Yep,
Tosh,
that's
is
Doc.
that everybody?
Yep,
Yes, ma'am.
Tosh is here as well.
You all, thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for taking the time to call us. We know you're busy.
Yes, man.
We know
Not
you're
too
busy.
Not too busy to talk about these issues and getting people to vote, right?
Well, listen, you were just here talking to the people in North Carolina, so what were some of the things that you were trying to share with us?
Well, I spent time in Greensboro and Raleigh, and, first of all, I was talking about how important this election is, and
Right.
understanding that, we are fighting for a vision that everybody can buy into, one where firefighters and teachers aren't paying more taxes than millionaires and billionaires.
When we say that, I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask you, when you say paying more taxes, you mean from a percentage standpoint?
Exactly. From a percentage standpoint, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
We're talking about, making sure that all kids, regardless of where they come from, can go to college without coming away with a mountain of debt. We're talking about making sure we don't repeal health care so that our kids can stay on insurance until they're 26 and people aren't, denied insurance because they have pre-existing conditions like asthma or cancer.
Right.
Those are the kind of things that we're working for. And one of the things I launched here in the state, I talked about, is an effort that we've launched called It Takes One.
Right.
Because we're trying to focus people on the power of just one person stepping up, and we're asking everybody who has been involved in this campaign, for every action they take to move the campaign forward, they bring one more person into the fold, just one more. So if you're making calls at the campaign office, bring somebody. If you're registering voters, bring a new voice, bring a cousin, a friend, a neighbor, somebody who's never been involved. If you're coming to an event, bring somebody who's sitting on the fence, because the truth is this election is going to be close.
Right.
That's the only thing we can guarantee, and it's going to come down to those last few thousand voters. And the work that we do, bringing more and more people to the fold, getting people to think about how they multiply themselves, that's what's going to carry it over the top.
The fact that everybody's expecting it to be a close election, is that a little disappointing? And I ask from the standpoint of, there's a lot of debate on the success of President Obama's first term. And I guess from a general standpoint, if a lot more people felt he was more successful as a first-term president, then it wouldn't even be a close race.
You know what? Elections in this country are always close. I mean, in my lifetime, for every presidential election that we've seen, no matter what the state of the country, it has been close. The last election that Barack won, when there was no incumbent, it was a close election. First of all, because this country is pretty split evenly split among Democrats and Republicans. And people tend to vote along party lines regardless of what their, personal financial interests may be. They vote along party lines. Mm-hmm. So this election is going to be close. We're also dealing with an economy that's still in recovery.
Right.
When Barack took office, this economy was losing 750,000 jobs a month, okay? That's what he inherited. But now, for the last 28 straight months, we've actually been gaining private sector jobs. This administration has created 4 million jobs in just two years.
Right.
But the economy is still recovering. It takes a while to come back from that kind of hit. So people are still hurting, right? People are still looking for work. People are still, looking to be retrained. All of that is true. And then when people feel the crunch of the economy, naturally they're going to wonder, are we going in the right direction?
Let me ask you, what do you think are some of the biggest accomplishments of President Obama's first term?
Well, the most important accomplishment, I believe, for every single American was the passing of historic health care reform. Because just think about it. It's been a century that presidents have tried and failed to pass reform of this kind for 100 years, okay? Mm-hmm. No president has been able to do that. That's how difficult and controversial it's been. But this president stuck with it, even though people said he should just let it go because it wasn't going to be good for his presidency. Because he was listening to the stories of grandparents who were going without their medication. people losing their homes because they had a sick child. A woman dying of cancer whose insurance company won't cover her care. That's what motivated him. And now we've got this historic health reform where millions are going to finally be able to see a doctor when they're sick.
What do you say to those people that are upset that they feel like they have to foot the bill for the universal health care?
That's just not the case. We're already footing the bill for uninsured people, all right? If people understand how the healthcare system works, and I worked for a hospital for many years before I became First Lady, every hospital has to see people through the emergency room, all right? You have to cover. So that's how people are getting their care in this country, especially people without insurance. How many people do you know wait until they get sick, go to the ER, right? And they get their care. Well, that's costing taxpayers billions of dollars a year. Also, people aren't able to get preventative care. If people don't have a regular doctor they can go to, then they're not getting regular checkups and pap smears and cancer detection. And prevention saves money and it saves lives. And now with people being able to have a doctor, right, being able to get coverage to stay well. We're not just talking about helping people when they're sick. We're talking about creating a society where people are well. You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
We pay for that, right? So we're already footing the bill.
So you think you're basically saying, just taking care of it up front will be cheaper than having to pay for it on the back end with these people walking into the emergency rooms.
It's proven. Every developed country around the world has universal health care, except for the United States of America. So we are very excited. Doctors all over the hospitals who are struggling to keep their doors open because of unfunded patients that they have to take care of are cheering for this. And there are millions of people right now who don't have any health care insurance because of this reform will have health care.
Got you.
So I think that's one of the biggest accomplishments. Putting this country in on its correct financial footing, even though we're still struggling. Like I said, when Barack took office, this economy was losing 750,000 jobs a month.
And that's understood. And and I'm asking you these questions because there are people on both sides of the fence, and even with I guess some of the things that were defined as successes, I think people expected a lot more. There was a lot more energy. It seemed like in the first term there was a lot more energy and excitement.
Let me tell you something. I have been out on the campaign trail hard. I've been in swing states, some of the toughest states, and the energy is still there.
Okay.
The energy is there. I'm about to go into a rally of 1,800 people fired up in very small little areas. People of all backgrounds are fired up and ready to go. But one of the things that I remind people is that change takes time. Real change, the change that lasts. When we think about all the battles that we fought in this country over the centuries, women's rights, civil rights, I could go on and on and on. None of these battles were fought and won in 2.5 years.
Right. I think when President Obama came into play, there was just so much more built, that so many big expectations for him, but there was just so much built up before that there was much more to do. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. There was a lot to clean up. We were a country fighting
and I think we all saw that.
2 wars that were unfunded.
Right.
We were headed for financial crisis. We were a country heading towards a depression. These were all problems that Barack had to fix before he could even start working on his agenda. He's not only fixed and stabilized those problems, but he's been able to get health reform passed. He was able to, with our brave men and women in uniform, bring Osama bin Laden to justice. He ended the war in Iraq, working to give our troops the benefits that they've earned and they've deserved, lowered taxes for working class people, cut taxes for small businesses 18 times.
If everything
The Lilly led Better Fair Pay Act to make sure women get equal pay for equal work. I mean, I could go on and on.
Right.
And
and on. And on. And on. Did I say on? Ended Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Right.
Now that our troops don't have to lie about who they are to serve the country, they love
that.
all of this stuff.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Man, you better know your husband's accolades, Mrs. Obama. That is off the chain.
You ask. I'm just saying. You ask me, I'll tell you.
Let me tell you two areas that where I would really like to see some dramatic improvement, so to speak. And maybe you have some insight on how that might come about if President Obama is elected a second term. Number one, like I know a big campaign issue was clean energy, and secondly was transportation. Like I'm one of those people, like I really would love to see that high-speed rail system come into play, and I'm sick of filling up my truck with this expensive gas. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And those are kind of some of the areas that people still have frustration about, like the gas prices go up and down, but never really down that it seems, significant. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And high-speed rail, environment have been on the president's agenda. But one of the things that people have to understand is that it takes a willing Congress to get everything that you just asked for done.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
So does he have to go in with a heavier hand in the second term? Because that's one of the things that people say.
You know what? We as voters have to send a message, not just to the president, but to the Congress about what we want. And because congressmen are elected in the states where they represent. You see what I'm saying? Who we send to Congress dictates just as much how much we can advance as the president. So it's twofold, which is getting back to the question. Some people wonder, well, why should I vote? We've got people who still vote. I voted for the president, but I didn't vote in the midterms, right? I don't even know who my congressman is or who's in my state house. And that's what we need you all to start doing as well. That's what I'd like you to do, right? With the platform that you have, because you sound like you know what you're talking about, right?
I mean, I try to keep up. I'm sure there's people that know a little bit more.
Everybody who's in the sound of your voice has to understand how our democracy works. If we're going to have a clean environment, number one, yes, we have to have a president who believes in global warming, right? And then we have to have a Congress who's willing to work towards that goal. And the people elect Congress, just as they elect the president, but it's not just voting once. You got to vote in the midterms. You got to vote for, your state senator. You got to vote for your mayor. You got to vote for your governor. Because many of these initiatives happen at the state level. They happen at the county level.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. The environment is critical. We are seeing all over the country. We're seeing, weather changes. We're seeing, huge droughts and fires happening. We need to do something, and this is one of those choices because our opponents have absolutely no agenda when it comes to the environment or high-speed rail. All of these are things that as President Obama understands that we need to have happen. So we need your voices. I'm going to have to run, but I want to remind people that in North Carolina, the voter registration deadline is October the 12th. And I want to encourage people that no matter who you support, support somebody. All right, because sitting on the sidelines with your arms folded, talking about what you're disappointed in, is not going to move this country forward. People have to vote, take a stand about something.
Before you go, may I ask you one more question? Sitting around
just
with a bunch
one more, because I got to go. You got look at my people. They're just
okay.
Now they're mad at you.
How real? Okay, I don't want nobody to be mad at me, especially you. Now, how real is the threat that the Social Security will run out? Because a lot of people are saying, they've been working all their life, and now when it's time for them.
I wish I had time to answer that. That's a long one. I'm gonna go, you guys.
Okay.
I love you all. You all are amazing. Keep it going. Take it easy.
Okay, well, we appreciate you taking the time to reach out to us.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks.